We'll call the Monday, January 4th, 2010 Belle Plaine City Council meeting to order. Would you please stand and follow me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll call the roll. Councilmember Trost. Councilmember Trost. Calling the roll.
Here.
Say here. Councilmember Underfirth.
Here.
Mayor Lee's present. Councilmember Coop.
Here.
Councilmember Lang. Councilmember O'Laughlin.
Here.
Be it noted that staff are also in attendance. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by O'Laughlin, second by Lang. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Trost?
Excuse me a second. On the end of the agenda, it talks about upcoming meetings,
Upcoming meetings, yep.
and I'd like to, that council retreat, I'd like to take that off. Should I do it now or when we get there?
Well, I suppose you can take it off now. What are you thinking, that we were not going to convene? I mean, we could just consider it, we had discussed this before where we're going to just call the whole thing a personnel meeting. But if you want to pull it, that's fine too. Then we'd have to reschedule.
No, I'd like to take it off for good.
Okay.
Do I do it now or when it comes down to
I think we might as well just do it now.
we shouldn't have to vote on that because
No, because you called it,
it wasn't
So-
voted on.
right? I
I
think
want it on
so.
record that I took it off.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, we'll take that as direction. We'll pull the notice.
okay. So with that with that amendment, is there any other discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda? Aye. Opposed? This passes unanimously. Approval of the consent agenda. Number 4, 4.1 regular session minutes of December 21, 2009. 4.2 resolution 10-001, adoption of official and professional appointments. 4.3 resolution 10-002, adoption of committee appointments. 4.4 resolution 10-003, approving retiree monthly insurance benefit. 4.5, Resolution 10-004, appointing Finance Director Don Meyer as temporary acting city administrator in the absence of the city administrator. 4.6, Resolution 10-005, declaring the official intent of the city of Belle Plaine to reimburse certain expenditures from the proceeds of bonds to be issued by the city. 4.7, Resolution 10-006, appointing Bethany Dempsey as video recorder operator. 4.8, authorizing wage scale increase to match federal minimum wage for community recreation employees. That is the consent agenda. I'm looking for a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Trost, second by Underfirth. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? This passes. We'll move to the department reports. Mr. Ladd from the Community Services.
Mayor, Council, you have my report. I don't have anything to add. If anybody has any questions, I can glad to answer those.
Are there any questions for Mr. Ladd? How are the skating rink reporting? Actually, we're going to get a report from Mr.
Rinks are
Fahey.
pretty good, though.
Good, good. The Zamboni's working?
Yep.
Okay. It'll be noted in Mr. Fahey's report that the city received a donated Zamboni. Or actually, it's not, well, I'll let you give the report. Any other
No,
questions for Mr. Ladd?
thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Community work, or Public Works, I'm sorry, Mr. Fahey?
Mr. Mayor, Council, you have my report. Thing I will add is that we get a little bit warmer temperature. We're going to start salting these slippery intersections. Intersections are pretty decent. It's the main line travel that's not good. Nothing's working on it right now. So as soon as it warms up a little bit, we'll be salting. I'll take any other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fahey. Are there any questions for Mr. Fahey?
I do.
Yes, Mr. Lang?
Al, did you see the big thing in the paper, Sunday paper, about what they're doing in Pryor on the streets?
No.
That solution and all that stuff, trying to save salt and all that?
Pre-wet, they call that?
Huh?
Yes.
I'm assuming there's quite an investment to get into that, because they use like 800-gallon plastic tanks and stuff like that.
Yes.
And of course, they're trying to save fish because of theirs running off to the lakes and rivers that are so
Correct.
much surrounding. But I just wondered if it's something you guys ever bring up in your meetings, talking about it, just to see what's the feasibility of something like that.
Actually, we have brought it up. We discuss it pretty much. It's not real new, but it's changed, it's ever changing. The initial investment is very high, but it only is gonna work in certain conditions. That's the problem with the pre-wetting, is it does work if you can get it down before the snow, and if it doesn't get too cold. If it gets too cold, it doesn't work. It's like salt in that respect. But I have tested it here. City Hall, we're testing it here for the first time. It's $50 a gallon, so it's very expensive. Need calibrated equipment to operate it, but I've been at Prior Lakes and looked at theirs. This is their second year doing it, so I didn't know there was a actual write-up on it, but
I was in their
something we'll
town-
look at in the future, I'm sure.
I was in their town today, and their streets are pretty good compared to ours. And I thought, that must work. And so, but the investment must be huge. I just thought I'd ask. Thank you.
Mr. Lang, would you pull your microphone down? It looks like there's some people that are having a hard time hearing out there, which is typical. Any other questions for Mr. Fahey?
Yeah, I have one. Al, when it gets time to put salt on these streets, one of the first I would suggest working on is Laredo, from South Street on north on Laredo. It must be a good 6 inches thick for the ice, and it's heavily traveled, because that's the only paved road to a lot of chunk of a business district over there. And people over there are having no end of problems getting into the businesses and out. And, sideways seems to be a pretty popular way to go down that road sometimes. So I would just urge you, when you get a chance, when it's weather breaks, to try to get that one done as quick as possible.
I will do so.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Fahey? Mr. Fahey, thank you for your report. We'll move down to the engineer, Mr. Duncan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. You have my report. I'll take any questions that you have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Duncan?
Yes, we talked a few months ago about Main Street, the problem with the traffic, and you said that MnDOT is